Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel, and if you are tuning in for the first time, right behind me is my 2002 E39 M5. Car has about 138,000 miles so far. I've owned it a little bit over a year and haven't really driven it more than maybe 1,200 miles. Now I have recently gone through the first major service item since I purchased the car, and I wanted to share that with you in this video. And as the title of the video suggests, I had work done on the drive shaft as well as the differential on this car. And I made a video a while back where I listed pretty much everything that I found wrong with the car after I purchased it. If you have watched the video, you may remember this annoying noise. And with the noise coming from this area here, I started looking everywhere I could imagine. I checked the wheel bearings, suspension, the interior. I contacted the previous owner, who happens to be a friend of mine, just to see if anything in the history of the car could point me to, in the right direction. And I just couldn't find the root cause for the noise. Eventually, I found this wonderful group on Facebook, the E39 M5 owners group, which, by the way, if you have one of these cars, I highly recommend you join. It's a wonderful community filled with people who have extensive knowledge and experience with this platform. So I posted a few of the clips with the noise just to see what I would hear back, and feedback was pretty much unanimous that the noise was caused by the drive shaft center support bearing. So I added the center support bearing to my to-do list. Now fast forward a couple of weeks and I happened to be under the car inspecting things, and I found this. So as you can see here, there is a bit of a leak right on the bottom of the differential. So it is minor. It rarely actually hits the ground, and I only see the leak after I've used the car for a while. But you can see here by the, stains on this piece of the exhaust, where this may have been leaking at some point before, a lot more. Obviously, discovering the differential leak made things a little bit more complicated, and I had to suspect that could also be cause for the noise I was hearing. Now, I know enough about these cars to know that you definitely don't want to risk a damaged differential, so I didn't want to drive the car like that without knowing exactly what was wrong. And now I had a bit of a sense of urgency to take care of everything right away. Now, I am all for doing it yourself on this channel, and I hate to disappoint you, but this is not a DIY video where I show you how all of this is done. In fact, I decided to leave this work to the professionals. I've never worked with a limited slip differential like this before, and I didn't want my first experience to be on an M5 diff. It is a skill job that you should do with somebody that has experience. Nevertheless, I still wanted to make this video and share with you my overall experience, the diagnostics process, and more importantly, how much it cost me to get all of this done at a professional shop. So I picked Masterclass Automotive in Miami to get all of this work done. Based on my own research and references, they just seemed the most qualified shop to do it. They have a BMW Master Tech in-house, and everything I've heard about them was good overall, so I decided to give them a try. And that noise is not only concerning but very annoying, and I'm surprised. I did take this car out for a test drive before I bought it, and not that I would have given up on the opportunity to get this car because of that, but nevertheless I didn't hear this while driving with the previous owner sitting passenger side. So the car is registered and officially in the hands of Masterclass Auto. So I get a call from the shop a few days later with the initial diagnostics, and on the differential they found a leaking pinion seal. That's the one that's right on the center where the drive shaft attaches to, and that was in line with my own inspection, given where I saw the leaks, etc. So I decided to go through with that job. Now, surprisingly, when they inspected the drive shaft, they found nothing wrong with it. They saw there was no obvious play with the center support bearing. Everything seemed solid, and they just didn't have anything to fix. Now, that was my main concern for the annoying noise, which, aside from the differential, was my top priority while the car was there. So I was just left scratching my head. Now, they did mention that there was a possibility that the leak could have caused some damage inside the differential that could be causing that noise. And of course, there was no way to know that unless there was a full inspection done. And having no known previous service history on the differential and with the mileage of the car, etc., I decided to go through and have them take the differential off the car completely to do a full inspection on the bench. Now, lucky me, after the inspection, everything came back fine and they saw no signs of issues inside the differential. That would have been a lot more money. Now, while they had the differential on the bench, of course, I did wanted to take advantage of that opportunity, so I had them do a full reseal. So they changed all of the seals and some of the gaskets as well. So I have a full reseal differential on the car now. So they put everything back together and I came over to pick up the car. And when I drove off, I immediately heard that annoying sound again. And I was very disappointed, to put it mildly. So I hope you can hear the annoying squeaking sound through the GoPro mic. Unfortunately, even after taking the entire differential out, replacing all the seals, inspecting everything, apparently that was not the cause for the noise. And as many of you have suggested in comments and social media, this must certainly be the center support bearing, which was inspected, by the way, but it appears that some of these noises would only show under load and not necessarily while you have the car on a lift. So of course I am taking the car back. Now, this time I actually had one of their mechanics sit passenger side and ride with me until he actually heard the noise and acknowledged it. The first time around I had just told them about it, but I don't think they ever drove the car enough to actually hear it. So I felt much more confident that they could find the root cause this time around. And of course, up on the lift the car goes again, exhaust comes off, and they're inspecting the drive shaft. And now the diagnostic was for a bad rear flange. And lucky me, that's a part that you can actually buy standalone without having to replace the entire drive shaft assembly. So I decided to approve that diagnostic, or the estimate, and go through with that work. Now, I also asked them to replace the center support bearing, even if they had seen no issues with it. I definitely didn't want to deal with that in the future. And God forbid, hear that noise again after everything was put back together for the second time. So once again, everything was put back together. I picked up the car and finally the noise was gone and I was so happy. Now, was it the center support bearing as everybody suggested, or was it the rear flange? I guess there is no way to know, although I do suspect it was really the center support bearing based on everybody else's feedback. However, that flange needed to be replaced, so I'm glad we took care of that at the same time. Now, let me show you under the car so you can see what everything looks like now. And we can see the differential here. Absolutely no leaks, all dry. Here's a closer look at the flange that was replaced as well as part of this job. Attaches to the drive shaft and the diff here. The center support bearing, well, we won't be able to see that. It's right above all this hardware, but that was replaced as well. So that pretty much took care of the vibrations and the squeaking noises. Now let's talk about cost and how much this actually hurt my wallet. Now for the differential, the bill came up to $1,100. Again, full differential of the car on the bench, all seals replaced, gasket, and that very expensive BMW fluid. For the drive shaft, the bill came up to $800. rear flange, center support bearing, parts and labor. So all in all, $1,900 to get this fixed. Goes to show that you definitely want to have a cash reserve if you're getting into a car like this. This was completely unexpected for me, and you never know what's hidden in terms of issues with these cars. At least now I can go and drive and enjoy the car with peace of mind until I find that next critical repair that needs to be done. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you're having a similar issue, let me know in the comments below. I will see you all on the next video. Peace.